127 for 9 is all that Delhi have managed to put up in their 20 overs. I say all, you can't judge it until the next team has batted, but for now, at least it looks from all assessment, including Steve Smith's chat at the end of the innings, that they could be about 15 runs shy of where they would have liked to have been. 127 for 9. Steve Smith himself was the joint top scorer with Rishabh Pant. Shikhar Dhawan started off decently, but once the wickets fell, they kept falling. Surprise package for Kolkata. Sunil Narayan expected to do well, 2 for 18, but have a look at that third name on the list. Venkatesh Iyer bowling his full quota of 4 overs and picking up a couple of wickets as well. No Andre Russell playing in this game, but instead of an extra batsman, they managed to squeeze in an extra bowler, have Kolkata and Owen Morgan. Here we are on Cricbuzz Live, brought to you in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle, in the company of Lisa Sthalekar and Joy Bhattacharjya. Difficult to judge that total. Of course, Delhi would feel they'd want to have the attack to go out and defend it, but you'd have to say they're a few shy.
Yeah, I think they're more than a few shy right now at this point in time, because given where they are, I mean, 127, and remember, Delhi has got great spinners, but 8 overs of spin and maybe Lalit Yadav to follow after that. They depend on their fast bowlers to do the damage. This is not a pitch where fast bowlers do much damage. Having said that, Rabada and Nokia are, the best fast bowlers, among the best fast bowlers in the world, so they'll get something everywhere. But this is a pitch where pace might actually help batsmen early on. So this is definitely something at least 20-25 short of what they would have wanted to do. And I think at this point in time, it's advantage Kolkata. They played their cards brilliantly.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they go, because it's not that Saudi didn't have his moments. It's not that Lockie Ferguson didn't bowl brilliantly. So they'll probably take inspiration from there, saying that if Lockie can, we can probably do it better.
Yeah, and they are better class players, aren't they? They've shown that over a period of time. You get a sense if Delhi can kind of take out the top order within the first 3 to 4 overs of Kolkata, then it's absolutely game on, because then the spinners will tie up the middle. You'll see some really smart, clever field placements. And I think I like the tactics. These low totals, the tactics of how many fielders out do you put? How many do you bring in? Do you put someone under the lid? That type of tactics in T20 cricket we rarely see. So I hope that we get to see a bit of a nail biter, because it has the ability to be that, especially if they can pick up a few wickets at the top end.
But if we had to be critical and assess that approach, was there a sense of slight being conservative, Joy, towards the middle part of the innings? Because yes, it's a slow pitch. You can make that out the moment you walked out to play. The batsmen who have gone out to open, the message has gone back. Is there a situation where you can maybe be a little more conservative, keep wickets and still get to 140, 150?
Yeah, I thought they didn't play the first 6 very well at all. And after that, from 7 to 15, they just kept losing wickets. So there was no sort of stability out there. But the first 6, you see, they have an interesting problem. What happens is, if you see how this team is constructed, Prithvi goes hard. Okay, Shikhar, people play around Shikhar. So Shikhar is there to score at 130, 140. He's not there to really accelerate beyond that. What's happened now is that Shreyas has also come in early. Shreyas is feeling himself back into the team. So he's a bit tentative up front. Nor does, at this point in time, the first match he's playing, Steve Smith is not going to attack from the very start, because he's also establishing himself. So the only guy who's actually went out there to start hitting it was Shimran Hetmyer, and he got out. He was the only guy who was trying to play with any kind of freedom. All the others were a bit careful. They were looking at their own innings. They were wanting to play themselves in. And the moment Shikhar Dhawan got out, Rishabh Pant felt he needed to do that role of sort of everyone playing around him. So a lot of really good batsmen sort of tied themselves in knots, because, they just didn't want to take that extra risk. And I think because of that, perhaps, this is a slow pitch, but that kind of batting lineup should score 150 on this kind of pitch, because they had that kind of firepower.
Give us your go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, it's all about trying to find different ways to score runs. And this is the thing, when the tracks have got pace and bounce, any batter can score runs. But it's these conditions where you want to see the class step up. So you may have to go a little bit squarer. You may have to play the ball a little bit later. They were taking too long to assess the conditions and figure out what they needed to do. I'm sure I agree with you. Messages were being passed on. And you've been saying, Gautam, maybe the fact that 150 was a little bit too low. So they played conservatively to try and get to that. And because of that, then they lost those wickets in the middle overs and they had nowhere to go from there. So, disappointing that they weren't able to figure it out a little bit quicker.
What I was going to ask you was your assessment of Steve Smith's innings and his dismissal, because he seemed to have paced it just right. Then he tried to play that ramp shot from Lockie Ferguson, got hit on the thigh. And next ball, he went for an almighty swipe, which is reminiscent of an ugly shot he played that had actually started his downfall. I think it was last season.
It was
ground. Against Pat Cummins, wasn't it? There was a bit of reminiscing for all of us. The thing is that he even, I can't remember who it was off, he tried to play on the up through the offside and missed a number of times. So, he is playing his first game. He is trying to get a feel for the conditions. He hasn't looked great from a T20 setting for a long period of time, to be honest. Hasn't played a lot of cricket as well since the last IPL. So, he's not there yet. He's still got a bit of time to go. No doubt he'll be in the nets in between and practicing.
Yeah, I think it'll be key for Delhi, because obviously you were saying it's work in progress. It's a good time for them to have a bad day, to test out players. So now looking forward, from their point of view, Ricky Ponting looking at Steve Smith and Steve Smith looking at his own spot, Joy, it'll be crucial for Delhi to figure out, does he belong, say, in a playoff?
I think it's a very clear thing. If Marcus Stoinis returns, Steve Smith is not going to play. There's no doubt about it. If Marcus Stoinis is fit, they will go with Stoinis, Hetmeyer, and the two fast bowlers. I think Steve Smith only gets an opportunity if he is not fit. Marcus Stoinis is not fit, and then he'll have to take his chances. It's a very different team. I think the moment Stoinis comes back, that balance is restored. Suddenly you have another experienced international hand instead of Lalit Yadav. Marcus Stoinis coming in at 6 is a far more capable prospect in that sense, a far more experienced prospect. So, look, Steve Smith is not going to play or not play because of Prithvi Shaw's injury. It will really depend on Stoinis returning.
But yeah, we shouldn't necessarily be overcritical of Delhi's batting. They are in a comfortable position. Let's instead look at Kolkata, their tactics, their bowling. This is where they went. I mean, you had Sandeep Warrier up top. Didn't really set the place on fire. Owen Morgan quickly saw that and said, where can I get 2 extra overs from there? I'm not sure if taking 2 extra overs of Lockie Ferguson was about the surface, because he was the best bowler on show, Lisa.
Yeah, he was. But unfortunately, it looks like he was the one that was off at the end of the game and Ben Cutting came on as a substitute fielder. So I hope that he hasn't got any kind of real bad injuries, given the fact that they've already lost Andre Russell. Lockie Ferguson, since he's come on, and started playing in the 11, he has picked up wickets regularly. He's the guy that you go to now, and is having a bigger impact than, their $1 million man, Pat Cummins, who's back in Australia.
Fair point. And Joy, surprised about, obviously I think he had to get those 2 extra overs out, but Venkatesh Iyer delivered in a full spell looking like a regular bowler.
Yeah, Venkatesh Iyer right now, if with the KKR he would a little S's on top of it, I'd be happy, because he's Superman for them. He goes, he gets runs with the bats, he's electrifying, he gives them something. He takes a nice, decent catch to start off with. Of course, he missed a run out. And then 12th over, 14th over, he comes in the 12th over, crucial time out there. 4 runs, 14th over, 7 runs, 16th over, even the 19th over they give him 10 runs is very, very decent for the 19th over. Here's one very interesting thing. Look back on yesterday's match and remember what Rajasthan Royals were trying to do. The Rajasthan team was trying to do, hold back Mustafizur and Chetan Sakaria and use them in the end. What Kolkata managed to do today was they managed to hold back in the top 6. Only Varun Chakravarti had only 1 over in the top 6, which meant that middle part they could clog with spin. And now, because Venkatesh Iyer came and gave them 4 overs as well, they didn't have to finish Sandeep Poria, who wasn't looking that set to set up with. So I think lots of things have happened. Their tactics work. They said, middle overs, we'll just choke them because, getting the likes of Sunil Narine, Varun Chakravarti away on a pitch which is slow, you'll bog them down. They're going to lose wickets because they're going to try and force the pace. Exactly what happened. So I think Owen Morgan will look at his day on the field and say, at least this part of it, the first 20 overs, we played as well as we could.
Yeah, interesting, Lisa. I was having a chat yesterday with some friends, and we were trying to find a mystery of where have all the all-rounders gone. And by all-rounders, the definition we were giving ourselves is bats in the top 4 or 5 for T20 cricket. You can go 6 and 7 for 50 over and gives you full 4 overs. We could not find anyone other than Glenn Maxwell in this tournament. And I think Venkatesh Iyer is the only one who stepped up now.
Yeah, and they're a great commodity, doesn't it? Because if you get them in your side, you can play around with an extra batter, an extra bowler, depending on the conditions and the opposition. I've always been a big believer that someone within your top 4 needs to give you some overs. They try. A lot of the top order batters, they like to chuck down a few offies. They think that's pretty simple and easy. It's a very hard skill. I just need to remind everyone. But if you can get a fast bowler who can bowl those Yorkers and now open the batting, like, he is a rare commodity. His stocks are rising in time for the IPL auction.
You bet they are. I mean, it's just everything being put down on a CV right there. But the one man who could have been an all-rounder, Joy, obviously not being used so much as a batsman, is Sunil Narine, but he's more than compensating with his remodeled action, delivering every single time.
And in fact, the most important thing is very crucial wickets he's taking. They're depending on him, and he and Varun Chakravarti have made a deadly combination out there. And you see, they were doing well even before this particular part of the tournament, but the batting was not giving them anything. Now that their batting has started to fire and these two guys are going whole hog, I mean, I think they're a formidable team. Of course, they'll really miss somebody like Andre Russell, but perhaps they will not miss Russell today as much as they would miss him if the match was in Dubai or in other surfaces. I think today they'll probably look at 127 and say, I think we've got enough to do it.
Yeah, interesting. In my classification, I hadn't even put him down as an all-rounder because you don't know if you're getting 4 overs out of him, and he's batting far too low at most times. So really, it's a rare commodity to find. But also a rare commodity is getting our prediction right. Because pitches have been really doing a number on all of us. We're trying to even low ball, and low balling is not low enough. So we've once again having to revise our predictions. 6th over in this run chase, which I think will determine how they're going to come. Are they going to go hard with that hard ball, Lisa? Give us a number.
I think they've got to. I think they've got to tackle it like it's a 150 score. Because if they try and keep with the required run rate, and if it gets harder, lower and slower, then they put themselves in a hole. So they need to score about 50, I reckon. 50, 55.
I'm going to go 42.
Okay, I'll slot in the middle then, 48. And I completely agree with Lisa. They have to go hard up front because if when there's space on the ball, they have to get runs on the board. If they don't get runs on the board, remember, you don't have 8 overs of spin. Potentially, Lalit Yadav can give you another 4 overs. You can get 12 overs of strangling spin on you. You don't want to do that. You don't want to take that chance. You want to say, let the run rate, bring it down to about 5.5, 4 or 5, and then sort of cruise towards the end. Just play them around and take your runs. I mean, that's what they should be doing.
Well, collectively, the team that put together our 3 My 11 Circle smart picks put Lalit Yadav in there, so he has to bowl. He simply has to bowl. Otherwise, there are going to be some very upset people in our production team. But for the moment, we leave it at that. We've given you our predictions, our assessment. Kolkata's run chase is underway. I think the 10 over mark will give us a good sense of how far they've progressed. We'll see you in the 10th over on Cricbuzz Combox. And of course, there's lots more to come. This is just part 1 of a double header. That's all on Cricbuzz Live, brought to you in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle.